Welcome to Stoic Philosophy for Life. This is not just a place to listen to books, it's a space to feel them with your soul. Here, we illuminate your mind with timeless lessons. Awaken your inner strength, cultivate self-minded discipline, and guide your journey of personal growth. Every word is carefully chosen to reach what you're truly seeking: peace, clarity, and lasting transformation. If this feels like the place for you, hit subscribe and walk this path with us every single day. Now, put on your headphones, take a deep breath, and begin the journey of renewing your mind and your life. Have you ever wondered why it is so hard to stay focused in today's world? Why is it that with all the productivity tools and endless advice out there, one moment you are deep in thought, and the next, you are lost in an endless scroll of distractions? It is not your fault entirely. The world we live in is designed to hijack your focus. But what if there was a way to reclaim it, not with hacks or gimmicks, but with something ancient, tested, and profound? What if you could train your mind the way a Stoic would, sharpening your attention like a sword over fire? This is not about becoming a productivity robot. This is about learning to live with clarity, to think clearly, to act with intention. Over the next few minutes, you will discover how to train your focus like a Stoic in just 7 days. These are not empty promises. This is a journey through timeless wisdom and daily discipline that will change how you show up in the world. If you stay with me until the end, you will not just learn how to concentrate better. You will learn how to take control of your inner world, no matter how chaotic the outside becomes. Epictetus once said, "You become what you give your attention to." Think about that. Every moment you give to mindless scrolling, shallow conversations, or reactive thinking, you are becoming less of who you are meant to be. The Stoics knew that focus was not just about getting things done, it was about living with virtue. When you control your focus, you control your mind. And when you control your mind, you control your life. Let me tell you a story. Imagine a soldier in the ancient Roman army. Each day he wakes up before dawn. He sharpens his sword, polishes his armor, and walks out into the world prepared, not because he knows exactly what the day will bring, but because he is trained for uncertainty. Focus is his shield. Discipline is his weapon. He does not check the clouds for signs. He does not wait for motivation. He acts. That soldier could be you. But your battlefield is different. It is made of notifications, opinions, and temptations. Yet the tools remain the same: awareness, will, and reason. So where do we begin? Day 1 is about observation. Not action, observation. Sit with yourself for 10 minutes. No distractions. Feel the tug of your impulses. The itch to check your phone. The wandering of your mind. Do not fight it, watch it. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the first step: do not be fooled. Awareness is the foundation of all discipline. Without it, you are not in control. You are just reacting. On day 2, you remove one distraction. Not all of them. Just one. Perhaps it is social media in the morning, or background music while working. The Stoics believed in voluntary discomfort. They knew that by choosing small hardships, they could build strength for bigger ones. Removing one distraction is a form of training. It teaches you to sit with silence, to be alone with your thoughts. That is where true clarity lies. By day 3, you begin to set an intention each morning. One sentence. One purpose. Like a ship setting its course. Today, I will not waste my energy on what I cannot control or. Today, I will give my full attention to the task before me. Seneca reminded us, if a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. This simple act, repeated daily, transforms drifting into direction. If this message moved you, share it with someone who needs it. On day 4, you practice returning. That is the secret. You will get distracted. You will fall. But what matters is your return. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back again and again. Like a Stoic returning to reason after a wave of emotion. Each return is a repetition. And repetition builds strength. Day 5 is about your environment. Epictetus thought that we must protect our minds the way we protect our bodies. Ask yourself, is your space helping or hurting your focus? Is it cluttered with noise, chaos, temptation? Or is it a place of calm and clarity? You do not need perfection. You need intention. Clean one corner. Set one boundary. Every small change is a vote for the person you want to become. On day 6, you begin practicing single-minded tasking. Choose one task. Just one. And give it your full attention. It could be writing, reading, cleaning, or even eating. Whatever it is, immerse yourself fully. No switching. No rushing. The Stoics did not believe in multitasking. They believed in presence. In doing what is in front of you as if it were the last thing you would ever do. Finally, on day 7, you reflect. Sit quietly. Ask yourself, how did I spend my attention this week? What stole it? What nourished it? What did I learn about myself? This reflection is your compass. It will show you where to adjust, where to go deeper, where to let go. Marcus Aurelius wrote nightly in his journal, not because he was vain, but because he understood that without reflection we repeat. With reflection we grow. The truth is, training your focus is not a 7-day challenge. It is a lifelong discipline. But in these 7 days, you will build the muscle. You will prove to yourself that clarity is not a gift. It is a choice. And every day, you get to choose again. Most people believe that focus is about saying yes to the right things. But the Stoics would disagree. True focus begins with learning to say no, not out of fear or guilt, but out of clarity. You must understand this: every yes to a distraction is a no to your peace. Every yes to instant gratification is a no to long-term purpose. In a world that constantly pulls at your attention, saying no is not just an act of discipline, it is an act of freedom. Seneca once wrote, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." We waste hours as if time is infinite, then panic when it slips away. The Stoics saw time as our most sacred possession. You can lose money, health, even relationships, but you can never reclaim a wasted moment. That is why focus is sacred. Because how you spend your attention is how you spend your life. So ask yourself, where is your mind when you are eating, walking, or speaking with someone you care about? Are you really there? Or are you somewhere else, lost in tomorrow or stuck in yesterday? The Stoics practiced presence like a martial art. Not because it was trendy, but because they understood it was the only place life truly happens. This moment. Right here. Everything else is illusion. There is a story of Cleanthes, the Stoic philosopher who worked as a water carrier by night so he could study during the day. He lived with simplicity, carried heavy loads, and never complained. When people mocked him for his job, he said nothing. He let his discipline speak for itself. Focus to the Stoics was not glamorous. It was forged in silence, repetition, and humility. Modern life wants you to chase more. More goals. More input. More validation. But the Stoic path is different. It is subtraction, not addition. It is learning to see clearly, to choose wisely, to act deliberately. The more noise you remove, the more signal remains. That is how you train your focus, not by adding more, but by letting go. Try this today. Take a simple activity like making your morning coffee and do it slowly, deliberately, without checking your phone. Feel the warmth of the cup, the scent, the sound of the pour. Be fully present. This is not just mindfulness. It is the practice of command. You are reminding your mind who is in charge. And every time you do, it listens a little more. By now, you may be thinking, this sounds simple, but it is hard. That is the point. The Stoics never promised ease. They promised growth through effort. Epictetus said, do not explain your philosophy. Embody it. The true measure of focus is not what you say you value, it is what you repeatedly choose. It shows in how you handle boredom, how you respond to urgency, how you prioritize your day. If you are serious about building focus, build boundaries. Set limits not just with your time but with your attention. Put your phone in another room. Tell people when you are unavailable. Create rituals that protect your concentration. These are not selfish acts. They are gifts to your future self. And remember this, you will fail. You will get distracted. You will break your rules. But that does not mean you start over. It means you return stronger. Like a Stoic, you do not judge yourself for falling, you admire yourself for rising. The real progress is not in perfection. It is in the return. Subscribe for more truths that shift your perspective. One final thought: attention is love. What you focus on, you strengthen. So focus on what matters. On what aligns with your values. On what brings peace, not chaos. Because in the end, your life will be a reflection of what you chose to see, what you chose to ignore, and what you chose to become. There is a quiet strength in someone who can sit still while the world spins in chaos around them. A person who listens more than they speak. Who observes before reacting. Who chooses their next step not out of impulse but out of wisdom. That is what Stoic focus looks like. It is not loud. It does not need to prove itself. But when it moves with purpose. Most people confuse business with focus. They fill their day with endless tasks, ticking boxes, answering messages, staying productive. But business is not the same as clarity. Focus is not how much you do. It is how deeply you do one thing. Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire, faced war, plague, and betrayal, and still found time to write quietly to himself each night. Not to be famous, but to stay clear. Focused. Grounded in who he was and what truly mattered. And what truly matters? That is a question only you can answer. If you're here right now, it means you're not waiting for life to happen. You're preparing for it. 2025 won't just be another year. It could be your breakthrough year, if you stay open to growth and committed to the work. Let this be your reminder you're not behind. You're just getting ready. But here is what the Stoics knew: what matters most is what remains when the noise fades. Your character. Your actions. your peace of mind. These are the things worth guarding with your focus. Everything else is passing dust. Let me offer you an image. Imagine your mind is like a lake. When the surface is still, you can see clearly to the bottom. But when thoughts, distractions, and emotions churn it like a storm, all clarity is lost. Training your focus is not about forcing the lake to be still. It is about learning to stop throwing stones into it. About letting it settle on its own. So how do we stop throwing stones? Begin by watching your thoughts. You do not need to judge them. Just see them. When you notice your mind drifting, say to yourself, that is not where I want to go. Then gently come back. To the breath. To the task. To the present. Every time you return, the lake clears a little more. You can also train focus by training your breath. The Stoics were masters of using the body to command the mind. Try this. Take a slow breath in for 4 counts. Hold it for 4. Breathe out for 4. Repeat. As the body slows, so does the mind. This is not magic. It is biology. You are teaching your nervous system to shift from reactivity to presence. And from presence comes power. Think of your focus like a fire. It needs fuel, yes, but it also needs protection. A fire left exposed to the wind will flicker and die. Your attention is the same. That is why you must create containers, time blocks, routines, sacred spaces. Not to restrict your freedom, but to preserve it. Within those boundaries, you are free to burn brightly without interruption. There will always be temptations. Easy paths. Shortcuts. But the Stoic chooses the meaningful over the convenient. Epictetus reminded us, no great thing is created suddenly. Real focus takes time. It takes patience. It takes falling in love with boredom. Because boredom is the gateway to depth. And depth is where meaning lies. If you feel restless, good. That means you are stretching your mind beyond its habits. If you feel uncomfortable, even better. That is the resistance that builds mental muscle. Do not run from it. Welcome it. The Stoics believed that obstacles were not the enemy, they were the path. As Marcus wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. So next time you find yourself distracted, do not scold yourself. Smile. You have noticed. You have awakened. And in that moment, you have a choice. To continue down the path of noise or to return to the path of presence. That choice, repeated daily, becomes your strength. There is something profound about creating structure in your day, about drawing invisible lines in time and space that honor your attention, the same way a gardener honors the soil before planting seeds. When you respect the sacredness of your focus, you begin to treat every moment as a vessel, something to be held with care, with purpose, with direction. The Stoics did not fragment their minds across scattered tasks. They dedicated themselves fully to each present act. And there is a quiet power in that dedication, a richness that seeps into everything you do. Picture your morning ritual. It might be simple, and it should be. Lie in bed for a moment. Feel the rise and fall of your breath. Notice the play of light through the curtains, the warmth of your blanket, the weight of your thoughts. Do not reach for your phone. Instead, anchor yourself in this moment of calm awareness. This is the beginning of day for the day of ritual. When you ritualize your practice, whether it is breathing, journaling, or simply sitting in silence, you create a signal to your mind that something matters. And your mind listens. When Marcus Aurelius awoke each morning, he did not begin by asking what he wanted from the day. He asked what he could become. That shift in perspective transformed his focus not into a tool for productivity, but into a path to virtue. Today, you can do the same. Begin the morning with intention. Write one sentence on why this day matters, not to your to-do list but to your character. Perhaps something like today, I will meet each challenge with calm. Or today I will listen fully before speaking. Then carry that sentence with you like a talisman as you move through your day. Later, when the world becomes noisy and you will have something to come back to. A silent sentence of truth in your pocket. A gentle compass pointing north. That compass is not flashy. It does not promise instant results. But it will show you the way back to focus time and time again. And when you fall, you will remember that falling is part of rising. There is a story about Seneca walking through the woods with a close friend. They came to a clearing, and Seneca picked up a stone and threw it as far as he could. The friend asked why. Seneca replied to know the nature of the stone, its weight, its shape, its resistance. The stone did not break him. It taught him. Distraction will not break you either. It will teach you if you treat it with curiosity, not judgment. Each return is a lesson. Each misstep is a teacher. So, let us talk about midday. Many people think focus peaks in the morning and collapses by noon. That is not a failing, it is a pattern. But patterns can be interrupted. Today at midday you will practice recalibration. Pause. Maybe you close your eyes. Maybe you breathe. Maybe you stretch. But whatever you do, do it with attention. Do not chase another task. Do not steal another moment of your attention. Instead, gift focus one small reset. A 10-second ritual. A single breath. And when you return, you will do so with renewed clarity. The Stoics understood that mental fatigue is real. They did not pretend otherwise. But they also believed in respecting your mind by giving it rest, by not demanding constant heroics. To build focus, treat your mind as you would treat your body. Would you run your legs for 6 straight hours without break? No. You would rest. You would heal. You would prepare to run again. The same holds true for the mind. Respect its limits, but never its excuses. And now, let us explore the power of small agreements. Today, pick one micro-commitment, one tiny, non-negotiable promise to yourself. Maybe it is I will write one sentence in my journal before bed, or I will breathe for 1 minute before responding to any email. These are small, but they accumulate, and they create trust between you and you. Every time you keep your word to yourself, your focus grows a little. Your identity strengthens. You become someone who does not just intend to focus, you become someone who knows how to. As evening approaches, you will reflect again, not to judge yourself, but to inquire. Ask, where did my focus feel alive? Where did it hang limp? Which moments did I hold on to my intention, and which ones did I drift away? Write these observations in one line. One glass half full sentence, like today. I noticed I stayed present with my friend when I did not check my screen, or I saw my mind wander during that meeting, and I gently returned. This practice strengthens your awareness, and it draws learning out of your day. Within this structure: morning ritual, midday reset, micro-agreement, evening reflection, you have built a web of support for your attention. It is neither elaborate nor expensive. It costs you nothing but presence. But it gives you everything: clarity, direction, calm. More importantly, it gives you the deep satisfaction that comes from living intentionally. On this day, you might ask, will this matter tomorrow? Probably not. But that is the point. Stoicism is not about making today count as if it were the last. It is about making each day count, because each day is a brick in the foundation of your character. The smallest stones, placed with care, build the greatest temples. Your focus is that temple. Imagine this: you are in the middle of a conversation with someone you love, but your mind is not there. It is replaying a mistake from yesterday, or worrying about something that might happen tomorrow. You nod, you smile, you answer, but you are absent. How many moments like that pass unnoticed in a day? How many opportunities to connect, to truly be alive, do we forfeit in the name of mental business? The Stoics called this kind of living a tragedy, a slow forgetting of life itself. True focus is not just about productivity. It is about presence. It is the decision to live with your eyes open and your soul awake. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do everything as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life, not because life is short, but because it is sacred." When you bring your full attention to a moment, no matter how ordinary, that moment becomes extraordinary. That is what focus can do. It can transform a meal into meditation, a walk into worship, a task into testimony. But there is a reason why presence is rare. It requires courage. It demands that you face the reality of now without flinching, without numbing, without running. Distraction is not just a bad habit. It is a form of avoidance. We distract ourselves because stillness can be uncomfortable. In the silence, our doubts echo louder. Our emotions rise to the surface. But here is the truth: the Stoics understood discomfort is not the enemy. It is the doorway to growth. So how do we step through that doorway? Day 5 invites us into the practice of deep attention. Take one task today, just one, and commit to doing it with your whole mind. Let it be something mundane: washing dishes, folding clothes, organizing your desk. Do it slowly. Notice every detail. Feel every movement. Listen to every sound. When your mind drifts, and it will bring it back without anger. Like a gentle parent guiding a child. This is not just about being mindful. It is about reclaiming your power to choose where your mind lives. As you train this muscle, you will begin to notice a shift. The noise within begins to quiet. You feel more grounded, less rushed. You start responding rather than reacting. That is when real focus begins, not as a trick, but as a trait. It becomes part of your character. And character to the Stoics was the only thing that truly mattered. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. For he is not permitted to prove himself. Distraction is a form of adversity. Every time you overcome it, even for a few minutes, you prove something to yourself. You prove that you are not at the mercy of your impulses. You prove that your will is stronger than your habits. And over time, those small victories build into something unshakable. You may also begin to feel a strange kind of grief, the grief of wasted time. You will start to notice how much of your life has been spent in a fog. How many conversations you have minus heard. How many sunsets you have minus saw. But do not let that grief turn into guilt. Let it become gratitude. Because now you are awake. How many years have passed where you promised yourself change, but drifted back into comfort? This time, it's different because you're still here. You're listening, you're learning, and most importantly, you're not quitting. And that's what separates wishful thinking from real transformation. And every moment from here forward is an opportunity to live fully, to see clearly, to engage deeply. At this stage in your journey, you are not just practicing focus, you are redefining your relationship with time. You are learning that 5 minutes of deep attention is worth more than 5 hours of divided effort. You are learning that there is no such thing as a small moment. Every moment is an altar. Every act, no matter how routine, is a chance to bring virtue into the world. If this message moved you, share it with someone who needs it. And now, a word on resistance. Because it will come. There will be days when your mind feels foggy, when your emotions feel heavy, when everything in you wants to scroll, distract, escape. Those are the most important days. Because those are the days you train. The Stoics did not become strong by avoiding hardship, they became strong by confronting it with clarity. So when resistance comes, welcome it. Say, here you are. Let us train. Set a timer. 5 minutes. Sit. Breathe. Do nothing. Notice every thought. Let it come. Let it go. This is not easy. But it is powerful. Because in that moment you are not just resisting distraction, you are strengthening discipline. And discipline to the Stoics was not a punishment. It was a path to peace. Later today, try this before switching tasks. Pause. Just for a breath. Ask yourself, what is the next right thing? That simple question acts like a reset button. It helps you move with intention rather than inertia. Most people live like ping-pong balls, bouncing from one thing to the next without thought. But the Stoic lives like an archer, each arrow drawn with care, each shot guided by purpose. By now, your mind may be quieter. Or maybe not. That is fine. There is no rush. There is only the practice. And the practice is the point. You are not training for perfection. You are training for presence. For mastery over yourself. And mastery is not found in grand gestures. It is found in small, deliberate acts repeated every day until they become who you are. By day 6, something subtle but powerful begins to shift. You no longer see focus as a tool to get more done, but as a way of being, a compass guiding you through each moment with clarity. You start noticing the quiet difference between urgency and importance, between reaction and response, between simply doing and being fully present. This shift does not scream. It whispers. It hums beneath your skin like the stillness before a storm. The Stoics would call this inner anchoring. The sense that no matter how fast the world moves, you remain centered, grounded, unmoved by chaos. And this is not because the world slows down, it will not. It is because you have chosen to stop chasing everything outside and start commanding what is within. And what is within you is infinitely more powerful than anything you are running toward. Today your practice is about saying no. Not loudly, not with force, but with calm clarity. No to another meeting that does not align. No to multitasking when deep work is needed. No to notifications during a sacred hour. No to what fragments your soul. Each no is a yes to something higher, your peace, your focus, your values. The Stoics understood this. They did not chase what was popular. They chose what was essential. There is a quiet dignity in restraint. When Marcus Aurelius walked the palace halls, He often reminded himself, you could be a Caesar, or you could be a man. He meant that power, fame, and constant motion can make you forget your humanity. But choosing stillness, even when movement is expected, that is strength. That is character. Today, simplify. Strip away what is not necessary. Clear your desk. Clean your digital space. Cancel what does not serve your mission. Create white space not just in your calendar, but in your mind. Because from that space, clarity rises. Focus is not found in the clutter. It is found in the silence after. You might be tempted to fill the gaps, to do more, to be more. But pause. Let the emptiness breathe. There is wisdom in restraint. There is power in waiting. Sometimes the best use of your attention is not to direct it but to protect it. You are not lazy for choosing less. You are wise for choosing well. If you need a guide today, make it this: attention follows value. Whatever you value most, your mind will gravitate toward. So ask yourself, what am I valuing right now? Is it peace or validation? Purpose or popularity? Depth or dopamine? Every decision you make about your attention is a mirror reflecting your values back at you. The Stoics taught us that wisdom begins with seeing clearly, and that means seeing ourselves without distortion, without excuse. So reflect, where have you been giving away your attention to cheaply? Where have you traded depth for distraction? Where have you sacrificed silence for noise? Do not judge. Just notice. Observation is the seed of transformation. And once you see clearly, you can begin to choose differently. Try this for the next hour. Turn everything off that competes for your mind. No music. No tabs. No messages. Choose one thing. Give it your full attention. Let yourself become immersed. Let the world fade into the background. You may feel uncomfortable at first. That is good. It means you are waking up from the fog. And here is something the Stoics knew: that modern life forgets doing nothing is not a waste of time. It is often the most valuable thing you can do. To sit. To breathe. To listen. To observe your thoughts without reacting. This is where clarity grows. Where creativity sparks. Where wisdom whispers. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most of the chaos we feel is not from life itself, but from our minds racing to predict, to worry, to control. But in this moment right now, you are safe. You are breathing. You are aware. And that awareness is your anchor. Return to it as often as you can. At the end of this day, look back not on how much you completed, but on how deeply you lived. Did you hear the sound of the rain? Did you look someone in the eye without thinking of what came next? Did you take a deep breath before reacting? These are victories too. They are invisible, but they shape who you are becoming. And that is what this is all about: not becoming faster or busier or more efficient, but becoming more you. The truest version. The grounded one. The present one. The one who walks into a room and does not need attention because they carry their own. The one who listens more than they speak, but when they speak, the words matter. That version of you is already here. Waiting. Beneath the noise. Beneath the distractions. Beneath the pressure. This week is not about finding that person, it is about returning to them. Repeatedly. Gently. every single day. There is a strange relief in accepting that you cannot do it all. That no matter how strong your ambition, your energy, or your desire, your time and attention remain limited. The Stoics understood this truth intimately. They knew that focus is not about managing more, it is about choosing less. The right less. The meaningful less. Because when everything matters, nothing truly does. Today, on day 7, we do not seek to conquer another method or master another trick. Today is about integration. Reflection. Eye reckoning with yourself. Not as a way to measure your success, but to witness your becoming. You have practiced presence. You have returned to your breath. You have protected your attention. And maybe some days felt powerful. Maybe others felt messy. That is not failure. That is reality. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. You may not control how others behave. You may not control the world's noise. But you do control your response. You control where your focus goes. And where your focus goes, your life follows. So pause. Look back on this week. Not with the eyes of a judge, but with the eyes of a learner. What pulled your attention the most? What grounded you? What patterns revealed themselves when the noise faded? What surprised you about yourself? These are sacred questions. Not because they produce immediate answers, but because they produce insight. The kind of insight that gently reshapes your path forward. There is a story of a Roman sculptor who worked in near silence for 30 years. He carved with devotion, chiseling marble not to impress, but to express. One day, a wealthy noble visited and asked why he spent so long on a single piece. The sculptor replied, because each stroke is a prayer. That is how focus can feel when it becomes part of your being. Not effortful. Not forced. But sacred. And deliberate. There is a version of you in 2025 that looks back at this moment and smiles. Because this is when it started, when you chose discipline over distraction, purpose over pressure. Keep listening. You are not just passing time, you are reshaping your future with every word. If you found this video valuable and meaningful, please consider sharing it. You never know, it might help someone who truly needs it. Perhaps now you understand why the Stoics placed so much weight on attention. Because they knew that life is not measured in days or years, but in presence. A distracted life is not a lived life. You can go through an entire week, a year, even a lifetime without ever truly being here. Or you can reclaim a single moment, and in doing so, reclaim everything. So how do we carry this forward? How do we make focus not a 7-day experiment, but a lifelong practice? The answer lies in rhythm. Ritual. Repetition. Choose one anchor, just one that you will keep. It could be the morning sentence, the midday breath, the evening reflection. Let that one practice be your thread. And when life pulls at you, return to it. Again and again. Let it grow roots. Do not wait for perfect days to begin. Do not wait until you feel ready. The Stoics acted in accordance with virtue, not emotion. They did not ask, "Do I feel like focusing today?" They asked, "What does this moment require of me?" You can ask the same. And your answer will shape the quality of your life far more than motivation ever could. In moments of doubt, repeat this: I am not the noise. I am the observer of the noise. That single shift can turn panic into presence. You are not your distractions. You are not your wandering thoughts. You are not your mistakes. You are the one who returns. And that returning again and again is the real victory. If you remember only one thing from this week, let it be this: your focus is not something you fix. It is something you honor. Something you protect. Something you build with each small act of awareness. Every time you resist distraction, you are not just training your attention. You are shaping your soul. So, take this moment now. Sit with yourself. No background noise. No checking. Just breathe. Feel the miracle of your own presence. Know that you have everything you need to live with clarity, with peace, with purpose. Not someday. Today. Let us return to something simple: the breath. It is always there, always moving, always steady. No matter where you are or what chaos surrounds you, your breath is the one thing that cannot be taken from you. The Stoics understood this instinctively, even if they never wrote about it, like a modern mid-Volson's coach would. To them, the breath was not just a bodily function, it was a metaphor for life itself. Constant. Unnoticed. Powerful. And, when brought into awareness, transformative. So pause. Feel your breath. Let it guide you not just out of anxiety but back into awareness. This is not just about calming the nervous system, though that is important. It is about learning to place your mind where you choose, not where it drifts. Because drifting is the enemy of the focused life. Drift long enough and you end up in places you never intended to go. But choose where your attention lives and you reclaim your power. By this point in your journey, you may already sense that the way you experience the world has started to shift. You notice things. The way the light lands across your desk in the afternoon. The pause in a conversation. The exact moment your mind tries to escape something difficult. These are not distractions. They are signals. And if you listen, they will guide you back to your deepest values. The Stoics believed that focus is not just mental, it is moral. Because where you place your attention is ultimately where you place your life. Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That starts with clarity. Clarity of values, of identity, of intention. When you know who you want to be, you know what to ignore. And the more you ignore what does not matter, the more powerful your attention becomes. Now let us talk about identity. Most people try to improve their focus by changing what they do. But the real transformation begins when you change who you believe you are. If you see yourself as easily distracted, your brain will look for evidence to prove that true. If you see yourself as someone who can never sit still, that story becomes your prison. But if you begin to say, even quietly, I am someone who protects my focus, you start to act accordingly. Actions follow identity. So today, craft a new identity, one grounded in values. You are not just someone who wants to be focused. You are someone who values depth, who honors presence, who knows that what you do repeatedly becomes who you are permanently. The Stoics called this pro-heres, the ability to choose your response, your attitude, your path. It is the core of their philosophy, and it is the foundation of real focus. And yet, even with this clarity, life will challenge you. You will wake up late. You will have 100 things pulling at your attention. You will fall short. That is not the end, it is the training ground. The true Stoic does not wait for ideal conditions. They prepare for real ones. They do not pray for an easy day. They strengthen themselves to meet whatever day arrives. Here is your invitation today. Choose one difficult task you have been avoiding. Just one. Face it head on. Not perfectly. Not quickly. But with full attention. Let the discomfort teach you. Let your resistance become your training partner. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, if it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. This is not about toughness for its own sake. It is about mastery. Mastery over your time. Over your choices. Over yourself. And when the day ends, resist the urge to rush into entertainment. Sit with your own mind. Light a candle. Reflect. Ask, where did I place my attention today? Not as a scorecard, but as a mirror. Let what you see guide tomorrow. This reflection is where the wisdom lies, not in the practice alone, but in how you observe yourself through it. Many people think they need more time. What they really need is more clarity. Because with clarity, 5 minutes becomes powerful. A conversation becomes sacred. A simple task becomes a path to presence. Clarity turns the ordinary into something meaningful. That is the heart of Stoic focus, not more effort, but better direction. If you find yourself overwhelmed, return to one thing. One breath. One sentence. One task. This is how you build momentum. Not by tackling everything, but by doing the next right thing fully. And when your mind wanders, return. Without judgment. Without shame. Return like the tide. Like the sun. Quiet. Inevitable. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are training. You are rewiring your attention in a world built to scatter it. That takes patience. And strength. And grace. There is a moment in every practice, every journey, when the novelty wears off. When the excitement of beginning fades, and you are left with the real work: repetition. Boredom. Discipline. This is the part most people run from. They crave the spark, the rush, the newness. But what the Stoics knew, and what few ever understand, is this mastery begins when the excitement ends. Focus, like virtue, is forged not in the flames of motivation, but in the quiet, dull furnace of consistency. If you have made it this far, you have already done something rare. You have stayed. You have returned. You have endured moments when your mind fought back, when your body resisted, when life pulled you elsewhere. And yet you are still here. That alone is remarkable. The Stoics would not applaud your results, they would honor your effort. Because effort is the only part of life we truly control. Today you may find yourself asking, why am I doing this? It is a sign that you are ready to go deeper. Surface focus is about goals. Deep focus is about identity. You are no longer simply trying to concentrate. You are becoming someone who lives deliberately. And that change? It will echo through every corner of your life. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young Roman senator who trained under a Stoic philosopher. Every morning, he was told to sit in silence for 1 hour, no writing, no thinking, no planning, just observing his own mind. For weeks, he resisted. He fidgeted. He felt like he was wasting time. But eventually, something shifted. He stopped fighting. He began to listen. And in that silence, he discovered a part of himself that no book, no lecture, no strategy could have revealed. That part, the still, steady observer, is who you are training to become. Because the truth is, most people never meet themselves. They meet their habits, their routines, their reactions. But they never sit long enough in silence to meet the self beneath the noise. That is what you are doing. You are unearthing your own presence like a hidden sculpture beneath the stone. And it takes time. And yes, it takes boredom. So today, embrace boredom. Let it teach you. Let it show you what is behind your restlessness. Do not rush to fill the gaps with stimulation. Sit. Breathe. Observe. Let the silence speak. The Stoics believe that nature never hurries, yet everything is accomplished. You are part of that nature. There is no need to rush. This is also the day to simplify further. You are likely noticing by now which parts of your day fracture your attention, which conversations drain you, which routines anchor you. Begin to shape your life accordingly. Choose less. Choose better. Cut out what is not aligned. Build your schedule around your values, not your obligations. A focused life is a designed life. And what about setbacks? They will come. You may slip. You may binge scroll. You may forget. That is not failure. That is the signal to return. Seneca wrote, "No man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity." Expect the struggle. It is part of the work. Welcome it as the weight that builds the mental muscle you are here to grow. Try this now. Write a sentence on a piece of paper. Just one. I promise to yourself. Perhaps I will protect my mind today, or I will return to presence when I wander. Carry it with you. Keep it in your pocket, your journal, your desk. Let it be a touchstone, a reminder, a sacred contract with yourself. And as you move through the day, look for one moment, just one, that you can transform into presence. Not the whole day. Not the whole task list. Just one conversation. One cup of tea. 1 minute of walking without your phone. That moment, if honored fully, is enough. It proves that you can reclaim your mind. And if you can do it once, you can do it again. In this way, focus becomes a rhythm. A returning. Not a performance, but a way of living. A kind of internal posture that remains upright, even as the winds of life blow wildly. You do not control the wind, but you can anchor your sail. And when the day ends, ask again, where did my mind go today? If it wandered, do not shame it. Thank it for showing you where you are still growing. If it stayed, honor that too. Write it down. Say it aloud. Build this habit of honest reflection. It is the soil from which self-mastery grows. There is something profoundly human about forgetting. About drifting from what we value. About making promises in the morning and breaking them by nightfall. We do not fail because we are weak. We fail because we are wired to seek keys, to avoid discomfort, to follow the path of least resistance. The Stoics knew this. That is why their teachings were never about perfection. They were about returning. Coming back to clarity. Back to intention. Back to the present moment. Again. And again. And again. By now, on day 10 of this journey, you have likely begun to understand this training. Your focus is not about changing everything. It is about changing your relationship with everything. With time. With thought. With choice. The world around you may still pull, distract, demand. But something inside you has begun to shift. You have started to become the kind of person who does not simply react but reflects. The kind of person who pauses. Who notices. Who decides. Let us slow things down and look closely at something we all overlook: transitions. The moments between moments. Moving from one task to the next. From work to rest. From conversation to solitude. These and minus between spaces are where attention is most often lost. We rush. We carry mental residue from one thing into another. We bring the tension of the last moment into the next. And in doing so, we dilute our focus. We divide our presence. But what if you could learn to treat each transition as sacred? What if you use them not as blind pivots, but as conscious resets? Here is a practice before beginning a new activity. Pause for 3 seconds. Close your eyes if you can. Breathe. Whisper to yourself, begin again. That is it. 3 seconds. A tiny space carved into time. But that small space, it holds immense power. It is a statement to your mind that you are not being dragged by the current, you are steering the ship. You are not just doing life. You are living it. Deliberately. Seneca once said, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." Anticipation, stress, overthinking, these are thieves of attention. When we live in tomorrow, we abandon today. And yet it is in today where all of our influence lies. When you are working, work. When you are resting, rest. Do not borrow suffering from the future. Do not stretch your attention across what minus sifts. Train it here. Train it now. Let us speak also of energy. Because attention follows energy. You cannot focus deeply if your body is depleted. The Stoics may not have spoken of circadian rhythms or cortisol cycles, but they did speak of harmony, of rhythm, of balance. They walked in nature. They bathed in silence. They ate simply. They moved their bodies. They understood that to master the mind, one must not neglect the vessel it lives in. Today, treat your energy like a garden. What nourishes it? What drains it? Begin to notice. Does scrolling leave you restored or restless? Does certain company energize you or exhaust you? Do your habits soothe your mind or scatter it? Do not answer these questions with judgment, answer with honesty. From that honesty, real transformation begins. There is a modern myth that says more effort always equals better results. But the Stoics knew this was false. Sometimes, the wiser move is subtraction. Not more doing, but more pruning. They would have asked, are you doing the essential? Or are you simply filling time? You do not need a fuller schedule. You need a clearer one. One rooted in your values. One that allows for depth. Try this for 1 hour today. Block everything else out and commit to one meaningful task. Put your phone in another room. Close all other windows. Choose one thing: writing, reading, building, thinking, and give it your full presence. Notice how often your mind resists. Notice how quickly it begs for novelty. And notice what happens when you do not give in. When you stay. When you breathe through the urge. You will find that just beneath that itch to flee lies something deeper: flow. It is not easy to reach. But once you do, it feels like truth. And if you fail, you begin again. That is the Stoic way. Begin again. Again and again. The world will not reward your perfection, it will reward your persistence. Another layer to deepen your focus is gratitude. Not the fluffy kind. The quiet, real kind. The kind that sees the miracle in the mundane. The Stoics practiced it not as sentiment but as strength. They would wake and say, I am alive. I can think. I can choose. Let me use this day well. You can do the same. Gratitude is a powerful lens that brings your attention back to what is here, not what is missing. Look around you. The light in your room. The way your breath enters your body without permission. The tools you have at your disposal. The people who care about you. Even your challenges, they are shaping you. Gratitude sharpens focus. It reminds you that you are not just enduring life. You are experiencing it. And let us not forget service. One of the strongest ways to focus your mind is to offer it to others. When you help someone not perform idly, but sincerely, your attention becomes whole. You forget yourself for a moment. You transcend. The Stoics lived in service to reason, to virtue, to others. Marcus Aurelius ruled not for glory, but because it was his rule. His duty. He did not seek to escape it. He sought to do it well. Focus becomes easier when you live for more than yourself. So ask, how can you serve today? Not dramatically. Simply. Can you listen without distraction? Can you show up fully for someone in need? Can you do your work with care, even when no one is watching? These are acts of focused living, and they ripple far beyond what you can see. Finally, remember this: you are not training to become superhuman. You are training to become fully human. Present. Clear. Awake. You are learning not how to escape your mind, but how to guide it. Not how to silence your thoughts, but how to choose them. And in doing so, you are giving yourself a gift that few ever receive: a life lived on purpose. There is a calm that comes from knowing what truly matters. It is not loud. It does not demand attention. It does not try to prove itself. It is simply there, steady, grounded, unshaken. This is the calm that comes from a trained mind. High focus life. Hey, Stoic soul. But here is the truth most people miss: that calm is not something you find. It is something you build. Moment by moment. Thought by thought. Choice by choice. As we enter day 11 of this journey, it is no longer about learning something new. It is about remembering what you already know and honoring it with your actions. You have seen what it feels like to live with presence. You have tasted the clarity that comes when you stop chasing and start choosing. And now, your task is simple: protect that clarity. Defend it like a sacred fire. Not with force, but with care. Not with fear, but with discipline. Let us revisit the core of Stoic focus: the dichotomy of control. You know this by now. What is up to you and what is not? Your attention, your effort, your choices, these belong to you. The weather, the opinions of others, the outcomes of your actions, these do not. But understanding this is not enough. You must live it. Because every distraction, every emotional reaction, every moment of worry is a violation of that principle. A forgetting of your own power. So today, every time something pulls at your focus, Ask, is this within my control? Not out of indifference, but out of wisdom. Your attention is too precious to spend on things you cannot change. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." There is never a need to get worked up or to trouble your soul. Imagine that. You can choose not to react, not to comment, not to engage. That is power. And what about your goals? Your ambitions? Your dreams? These things are important but not sacred. The Stoics taught us to care deeply, but hold loosely. To act with full presence, but accept whatever results come. Because when your self-minus worth depends on the outcome, your attention is always at risk. But when it depends only on the effort, your focus becomes invincible. Here is a practice. Choose a task today where the outcome matters to you, perhaps a piece of work, a performance, a conversation. Before you begin, whisper to yourself, "I will give this my full attention, and I will accept whatever follows." Then act fully. And when it is done, let it go. This is Stoic focus in action, present in the doing, free from the result. Let us also speak of silence. Not just the absence of noise, but the presence of depth. True silence is not empty. It is full of insight, of clarity, of answers we cannot hear when the world is loud. Make time today to be truly silent. No music. No scrolling. No planning. Just you and your breath. Let your mind breathe. Let your thoughts settle like dust in still air. This is where the soul speaks. And when you return to your day, bring that silence with you. Into your work. Into your relationships. Into the spaces where you once rushed. The Stoics were never in a hurry. They understood that depth is found in stillness. That wisdom cannot be rushed. And that presence, once cultivated, becomes a way of moving through life, not slower, but more deliberate. Not quieter, but more powerful. You may notice by now that your environment matters more than you realized. The people you surround yourself with. The apps on your phone. The lighting in your room. These things either support your focus or sabotage it. Begin to shape your environment like an artist shapes clay. With intention. With vision. With discipline. Remove what numbs. Keep what sharpens. Build a space not just physical, but mental, where clarity can live. This is not about aesthetics. It is about energy. About the way a clean desk invites deep work. About the way a phone on silent invites presence. About the way a morning routine becomes a ritual of readiness. You are not just reacting to the world. You are designing the world you want to live in, one decision at a time. And if you slip? If you find yourself scrolling again, checking again, drifting again, you begin again. That is the mantra. Begin again. There is no shame in the return. Only strength. The Stoics never asked for flawlessness. Only courage. The courage to come back. The courage to start over. The courage to choose clarity, even after 1,000 moments of fog. There is one last thing. It may be the most important. You must forgive yourself. For the days you wasted. For the moments you lost. For the presence you abandoned. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are human. The Stoics were human too. They wrote their truths not from pedestals, but from struggle. from falling short, from standing back up. So stand. Take a breath. Lift your eyes. You are still here. Still capable. Still becoming. And this day, like every day, is a blank canvas. Train your focus not to control life, but to experience it. Not to escape discomfort, but to walk through it with grace. Not to achieve everything, but to give everything that matters your full, quiet, powerful attention. At the end of any meaningful journey, there comes a quiet moment. A moment not of applause, but of awareness. You look back not to admire your progress, but to understand it. You see the shifts, the small choices, the moments when you return to your breath instead of running, the times when you chose presence over performance. And in that moment, you realize something subtle but profound. Focus was never the goal. Focus was the path. And who you became while walking it, that was the real reward. This is not just the end of a 7-8 challenge. This is the beginning of a new relationship with your mind, your time, and your life. You now carry within you the capacity to choose your attention, to decide what deserves your energy, to protect what matters. And in a world constantly pulling at your focus, that choice is revolutionary. The Stoics were not perfect men. They were emperors and slaves, soldiers and philosophers. They faced betrayal, illness, failure. And yet, what made them strong was not what they endured, it was how they chose to face it. With clarity, with courage, with focus. Marcus Aurelius wrote not to impress, but to remind himself every day to return to what he could control. Epictetus thought from a broken body but an unbreakable will. Seneca lost wealth and favor, but never lost sight of wisdom. These were not abstract sages. They were people like you, like me, struggling to stay clear in a blurry world. So what happens now? Now, you live it. Quietly. Repeatedly. You let your habits reflect your values. You let your environment support your focus. You forgive yourself when you wander, and you celebrate yourself when you return. Because that return, that gentle coming back, is the true heartbeat of mastery. Here is how you will continue. You will start your days with intention, not perfection. A sentence. A breath. A question: what does clarity look like today? You'll protect your deep hours like sacred ground. No noise. No chaos. Just you and your task. Your craft. Your purpose. You will practice saying no, not because you are selfish, but because you are clear. Every no is a yes to what matters more. You will embrace boredom not as a problem, but as a portal. On the other side of restlessness is depth. You will choose presence in the meal, in the meeting, in the mundane. Because you now understand that every moment is an invitation to be fully alive. You will anchor your identity not in your output, but in your presence. Not in how much you achieve, but in how intentionally you live. You will fall. You will forget. But you will remember too. And when you do, you will return. Calmly. Powerfully. Like a Stoic. Focus is not just a skill. It is a form of love. A way of saying to the world, this matters. I am here. I choose this. Whether that this is a conversation, a page of writing, a moment of silence, or a simple breath, it becomes sacred when you give it your full attention. There is a final image I will leave you with: a single candle in a dark room. It does not shout. It does not compete. It simply burns. Quiet. Steady. Present. That is your focus. That is your attention. You do not need to light up the world. You only need to light the space in front of you and protect that flame. If you do that, every step you take will be guided. Every choice you make will be rooted. And every day you live will be a quiet act of rebellion against a world that wants to distract you from yourself. So go. Live slowly. Love deeply. Focus fiercely. You already know how. If this journey moved you, pass it on. Share the light. There is someone out there waiting to return to their own presence, and you might be the spark. The journey never ends. But today, it begins again. Stronger. Wiser. Clearer. If this message stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Write one thing down that you'll start doing this week. 2025 doesn't magically change anything you do. And your future begins the moment you decide to move, even just a little.